Equity equals assets minus liabilities. In property investment, equity is the value of the property minus the debt on that property. Pretty straightforward, yeah? A $100,000 property with an $80,000 loan on it leaves $20,000. So you have $20,000 in equity. So what's good about equity, you ask? As we've covered in previous videos, borrowers or lenders love cash and equity to use as security to borrow you money. But what if I was to tell you when it comes to building your property portfolio, the lenders, the borrowers, the banks are not really interested in equity? But in saying that, that probably goes against every property investment book you've read, yeah? Equity, when it comes to building a property portfolio, is next to useless when building a property portfolio. Want to find out why? You're in the right place. I'm going to show you. In fact, I've sent my mate down to the bank to get to the bottom of this, to show you what is equity in property investment and how it's actually used in building a property portfolio. At the bank. Hi, I just bought a $100,000 property recently and you gave me an $80,000 loan. So $100,000 minus $80,000 equals $20,000 equity. So I'm here to pull out my equity to buy another property. What the? There must be some sort of mistake. I've got $20,000 in equity. I want to pull the equity out and purchase another property. Well, this is kind of embarrassing. I'll be right back.
A few moments later.
Okay, all sorted. Good to go. All right, so what I did was I went out and brought another $100,000 property with an $80,000 loan with another $20,000 cash deposit. So now I have $200,000 in property, $160,000 in loan, and now I have $40,000 in equity. Twice as much as last time. So I'd like to pull the equity out, please, to buy another property. Damn it! Equity, useless. I'm gonna report back to my mate. How'd you go, mate? Not good, mate. Not good at all. I told them about my two properties and I showed them the combined equity of $40,000. And nothing. Nada. Zip. Zero. Don't stress too much, mate. You're actually on the right track. Using the loan to value ratio equation from our previous videos, which if you haven't seen them already and you don't know how LVR is calculated or what it is, just simply click the link up here. So let's run the loan to value ratio on your property, mate. The loan to value ratio equation is debt divided by value times 100. So the debt on the property is $80,000. The property value is $100,000. So we divide $80,000 by $100,000 and then times it by 100. And you get an 80% LVR, loan to value ratio. 80% LVR gives you 20% in equity. That's what I told them, but they shooed me away like a fly. An annoying fly. You know, one of those. Oh, cut it out. I even told them about my second property, both brought with a cash deposit. But I want to pull some equity out for the next purchase, and again, no deal.
No deal. No deal.
Well, that's where you're going wrong. You don't need equity. You need usable equity. You see, borrowers want something of value to lend you money against. Then you need to extend the distance between the value of the property to the debt. Whether that's done by achieving capital growth or value adds or even paying the loan down, the aim is simply to lower your loan to value ratio, creating usable equity. Now let's run some real life figures. This is a real life scenario. A property is purchased for $350,000 with a $280,000 loan, which when applied to the loan to value ratio equation would look like this. $280,000 divided by $350,000 times 100 equals 80% LVR. The amount of the debt divided by the value of the property times 100 gives you an 80% LVR. So right now there is equity, but no usable equity as the LVR is at 80%. $350,000 property value, $280,000 loan, $70,000 equity. Now what happened here? Through capital growth, the value of the property has risen to $416,000. So running the LVR equation, which is simply debt divided by value, $280,000 loan by the new price of the property, $416,000, giving you an LVR of 67.3%. As we have lowered the LVR below 80% at 67.3%, we can now go to the bank and see if something new can be done. The equity now has a fraction of usable equity. Now, how the banks would look at this would be they would run an 80% LVR of the new property value, which has risen to $416,000, which would mean the 80% LVR is $332,800. This means the bank can lend an additional $52,800 on top of the original loan of $280,000, which would look like this. Now, if we add these two loans together as a separate equity loan has been created, you'll see the total of these two loans have a combined loan-to-value ratio of 80%. And the customer can now use his $52,800 to purchase another property. So this is why you're not getting lent any money, mate. Your LVR is too high.
Mate, this is our 4th video on LVR, correct? Yes. Now we've learnt what combined loan-to-value ratio is too. All of the secured loans on a property divided by the value of that property.
That's correct. And now you know equity is the difference between the value of the property and the debt on that property. And usable equity, on the other hand, is the amount of equity you have in your property that you can use to access further credit, which is made up by
Lowering your loan-to-value ratio.
But in saying that, there's one very large piece that an investor needs to be aware of when drawing out usable equity.
Ah yes, I know what you're talking about, mate. If you pull more equity, more money out, your monthly repayments also go up. So you've got to make sure that your cash flows are enough to service this new amount. But luckily though, we are already onto that video, which you can click here, and if it's not there, make sure you hit the subscribe button and tingle the bell. So when it drops, you'll be notified. All it takes is a tingle. If you can't hit the subscribe button, I'm wondering how serious you are about building a property investment portfolio. It's just a tingle.